Oh, there's the camera.
There
All
we go.
right.
So let's move the camera down this way.
Karen, do I need the mic? Do I need the mic? Do I need
Well,
the
the
mic?
mic will make it louder for the camera.
All right. Handle. Okay, I'm Tricia. I am with the Dog Wizard just out of Burlington. I'm the head trainer there. And just asked to come down and talk to y'all about some dog body language and recognizing it and kind of how to troubleshoot that and to understand what is going on in the dog world. How long have you guys been coming here to the department? Anyone? A year? Who's yours? Jasper. Oh, Anderson. Awesome.
I don't have a dog.
Okay, so how long have you been coming here and creeping around? About a year.
Oh, Jasper's on.
Hi, Jasper's on.
Exactly.
Awesome.
And I'm on my second dog here, so
Oh.
I helped open the park.
Oh my gosh. Okay, awesome. Okay. Congratulations. She's with me. Alyssa is on her first dog. So we just adopted a rescue beagle named Bagel, which is a lot to say. He's actually in my van right now. We've been doing some day trains. You're not awesome. Okay, so we actually do have a presentation which shows dogs and their body language, but we don't have it's not bright enough. So we're gonna kind of do this a little freehand, right? So I'm sure that Will can send out any of the presentations. But I just want to gonna have to like kind of okay. So when we think about dog body language, there are essentially like 6 parts of the body you want to pay attention to. Does anybody know? It's live and interactive. Oh, anybody? You've done a class on this, man. The mouth, yes, the mouth. Awesome. Ears, good. Tail, yeah. Eyes. Body posture, that's included. And then there's one that's not often like indicated, but it's the nose and sniffing. And I'm gonna go over why, because that's a really important indicator when you're trying to determine, I mean, maybe all the body language is a little confusing and you need something to kind of like differentiate and help you make a decision as to what's going on. So for the eyes, just like humans, you want to pay attention to what the dog is focused on, how long they're focused on it, and can we get their attention, right? So if you are watching a movie and you're like very rapt and interested in the movie, someone's gonna have to call your name a little bit louder to get your attention than normal, right? So if a dog eyes are loose and moving, wandering around and will come back to you if you call them or try to recall them, that's usually a good indication that they're not in a fixated state, right? Very focused, laser eye contact, longer duration, not breaking it, right? That's someone giving you a stare down. That's pretty consistent between both like animal and all the animal kingdom, right? So eye contact and showing teeth are 2 signs of threat in any animal. So we always want to be aware of that. Anything that is fixed and prolonged, right? And interspecies within the same species, interspecies, anything like that. So for the ears, right, you want to pay attention to what direction they're going and if they are stiff. So if your ears are neutral and floppy, your dog just is kind of like not paying attention, right? It's the same with you, like when you're loose, you know, like after a massage or something, your body is just kind of like, oh, relaxed, right? So anytime we see that kind of looseness in the dog's body, that's an indication that they are typically pretty well calm and relaxed, right? When you start seeing that stiffness, so for example, in the ears, and it's pointed straight up, the dog is on edge. And it's on edge in a move forward type of mentality. When you see the ears back, it's more on edge of a flight or fight mentality, right? So we'll go through and I'll give some more specific examples, but those are just the kind of things you're going to understand from the dog's ears. Any questions on those 2? Okay. With the mouth, you are looking at the tongue. Is the tongue hanging out? Is the dog panting? Is the dog showing its teeth and its gums? Is the dog snarling? Is it kind of biting back a little bit and drooling? You'll see some dogs, especially like when they pant, you can see their mouths get really wide and it looks like they're smiling. That's like an exercise, I'm hot and exerting energy pant. But there is one where their mouths are more closed and kind of like, that's the best way I can explain it, right? Which shows that dog is under stress. So again, that comes back to the tension. With the nose. So the nose is the dog's primary sense, whereas with humans, it's our eyes, right? Eyes are actually third for dogs. So if the dog is using its nose, that means that the dog is aware of its environment and taking it in, and they're processing. So using 60% of their brain. So if a dog is sitting there sniffing, it doesn't have time to visually fixate, right? So if you're questioning, my dog looks like it might be in an alert state, is it alert in a curious way? Take a look at its nose. Its nose kind of twitching like it's moving around, or is it alert and more of a, I need to be prepared to do something I'm not comfortable with? And with that case, you're going to see more of the emphasis on the dog's eyes. For the tail, it's the same thing. We come back to stiff or loose. So a wagging tail in and of itself doesn't mean anything, right? If you say a dog's tail is wagging, that actually doesn't mean good, bad, or ugly, because your dog can move its tail in a lot of different ways. So if you've got a tail that's like really loose and happy and not super high, but kind of like straight back and like loose and wagging, right? And blah, 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 like that dog, like that dog's tail, he's loose, he's wagging, he's chilling. That's a calm dog. This is a loose, happy, excited wag, right? He's not, he's sweet pea. He's not stiff, he or she, excuse me, is not stiff or anything. A loose wag, he's happy, his whole body's kind of wiggling. This is more of your neutral, calm, relaxed tail. When you have a tail that's out and wiggling, but it's tight, that's a bad sign. Just because the dog's tail is moving doesn't mean it's moving in a good way, right? So again, we want to look to that tight versus loose body posture. And we also want to look at the position of the tail. So some dogs' tails will naturally kind of curl up and do their thing. But, so that can be kind of tricky, especially if you have a dock tail also, you may not be able to see the tail as well. So when you have a tail that is in a neutral straight down position or just kind of a out back and loose, those are good, right? That's a dog who's not worried about his environment too much, pretty confident. When you have a tail that goes straight down and tucks under the legs, that's a problem. That's a submissive and scared position. And if you have a tail that goes straight up, doesn't move forward stiff or slight moves, that's over alert. That's your dog who's kind of looking to get into something to or understand if they need to help protect something. And then for body posture, it's kind of the same with humans. Like think about runners getting ready to start a race. Like they do that ready, set, go. They get low to the ground and they're ready to move, like when ready to like quickly get up and go. So dogs do that when they want to play, right? That's that play bow. They're alert, they're ready to go. And then because their body is leaning forward. If they're more up and posturing forward, that's more a sign that they are ready to kind of pounce, right? They are on alert again. Do I need to go and do I need to take care of something that's happening? If a dog is physically shying away, just like a human, like right recoil, the dog doesn't want to be there. So those are just overall. Any questions on that? Yes.
So I get a lot of, I live in downtown and a lot of the dogs will be like walking up on them on the sidewalk and they like flat, not like play pose, nothing. They just like flat
Pancake.
Yeah, pancake. And
Terrified dog.
but then when my dog comes up, they're like, it's fine. But they're, yeah.
Yeah, but Scarlett's also not a threatening dog.
But
Right.
yeah, from like, I would say from here to the fence, they pancake as soon as they hear.
So there's a couple of things that could be happening there. Getting down on the ground for dogs is one, a fear. I don't want to move forward. So if you go down and lay down on the ground and your handler keeps walking or something and your dog doesn't want to go with you, that's a dog who's scared,
Yeah,
right?
Typically,
Right? Typically, right? And this is what you have to pay attention to everything going on, right? Where are the dog's eyes? Are they looking at the handler? Are they looking at Scarlett and you? Are they watching as you guys like move around? So the pancaking is fear. There's also dogs who do it as a submissive play move sometimes. or who are doing like an even extended playback, right? So they get all the way down and they're just kind of waiting, and you and Scarlett are gonna walk by and then they're gonna get really excited and jump, right?
Yeah. Just like,
They may just be scared. Now, some owners also, we have a reactive dog. Some owners choose to have their dog stop and sit and wait for the other dog to pass, which is tough because that just builds up adrenaline in the dog. So if you see a dog is body language you can't read, just trust your gut and go the other way. If you are, right, especially if the owner looks insecure or not confident or anything like that. That'll help. Yeah. And plus also Scarlett's got pretty chill energy, right? So pay attention to how your dog is reacting because your dog is going to know better than you what that dog is telling you. So if your dog is hackles start to go up or starts to display teeth or eyes get fixated, all of a sudden its tail stops wagging, very unhappy dog. Then that dog is reading because those dogs read each other better than we ever could, right? And so that's why it's really a dynamic. You want to watch everything that's happening. So listen to Scarlett. If Scarlett probably also, she's a little scared cat in some ways, but I don't think she is outside, right? She's pretty okay. Like she's not too bad. Yeah. Just pay attention to her. She's gonna tell you if she goes into avoidance and tries to cross to your other side or something. Listen to her.
yeah, it's usually younger dogs. Probably.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So any questions about just kind of like looking at overall ideas? All right. So I have on here two different kind of body language positions to look at. One is excited and playful, and one is calm and relaxed. So both of these are kind of your brain body language. Play with it. That's a calm and relaxed. Okay, Jasper, you were wonderful. Tell us what you see with Jasper. Yeah. Okay. So Jasper he is more calm and relaxed and playful right now. Excited and playful. So his body is loose. He's not fixating. He's kind of roaming around. You call his name, he came right back. You don't even know me, and I call his name, right? So this is a confident dog in this situation. And his feet, if you notice, they're flat on the ground. He's kind of walking calmly. He's not bouncing or prancing. More excited dog is going to kind of do like bounce and prance and like, are you ready? I'm going to go. I'm going to move. I'm going to move. If a dog came up to him, most likely, right? Jasper is either going to engage or ignore that dog, right? And depending on how he likes to play and what kind of introductions he likes. Okay, Jasper, you're the best today. So
Like demo.
you say he's like, I actually don't want to play with you because that dog's energy is a little hot for him. Not in a bad way. There's nothing wrong with this, like nothing wrong. But Jasper was like, I mean, yo, I see you, but like, I don't want to play with you right now. So I'm gonna just keep moving. And this dog did a really good job of being like, okay, cool, I'm gonna walk away then, right? He didn't hound after him or anything like that, which would turn him kind of into like a schoolyard, nuisance, right? That kid in the recess who doesn't stop.
Maisie and Jasper usually get into boxing matches.
Okay, let's talk
So
about that.
up on the high legs, boxing with each other, and they're having fun. They
How can
break
you-
in and they come back and
How can you tell they're having fun? We're just gonna go off script. guys.
because when they break from each other or we call them aside, they immediately go back to each other.
Okay, two of my favorite things. The dogs are controlling their own energy there, right? They're each saying, this is getting a little too intense or I need a break. And they're respecting each other when they go apart, right? And then they're also listening to their owners, their recall. So they're in tune with their owners, which means they're not overly fixated on what's happening in front of them. So that calling their names, recall is a life-saving command in any setting ever, period, for any dog. And if a dog knows nothing other than recall, your dog is 70–80% there, honestly, because you could call them out of a fight, call them out of a bad situation, you can call them out of a safety hazard. So if your dog doesn't know recall, they really have no business being in a dog park. Now, you can come here and have them learn recall and train them on a leash to do it with distractions. But if you don't have the ability to call your dog out of a bad situation or a good situation that could change, then unfortunately your dog is not in tune with you enough to prioritize you over what's happening around us. And that's what we want. We want dogs who want to follow us and work with us and even if, your dog is great, not gonna get in a fight, not gonna bite a dog. We all have many things we say, everybody does different things under stress, but just because there's two other dogs over there who might, that puts your dog at a risk, right? Dogs can redirect, so recall is the most important thing you can teach your dog. Period. I saw you made a face when I was like, they don't have recall enough business.
They say 80/20.
80/20 is good. So what is his 20% that he's missing?
When he's playing.
Yeah,
If I can call him out of a fight, he doesn't tend to go to fight
Yeah.
anyways. But,
okay,
if he's playing and playing hard.
Yeah.
Sometimes he will.
okay, to practice it.
Yeah.
Right? In a safe environment, put a leash on him. Practice recall even in boring environments. It becomes a motor memory, like a muscle memory skill. But I mean, everybody has their like we all have things where we're like, I'm ignoring everything else in the world and I'm moving forward, right? If you want 100% proof recall, you have to use an e-collar. Period. Everybody has mixed opinions on that. That's up to you. But that is truly the only way to always have communication with your dog. Without it. It's just the truth, right? 80/20 is pretty damn good.
He is pretty good.
Yeah.
Come here, buddy.
Come here, buddy. Hi, Jasper. Follow. Oh,
Jasper.
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 Jasper. That's good. That's great.
You're really good.
That's great. Yeah. That's really cool. I can't. I mean, if I had food, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. You will.
So when you think about dogs who are in a green state, right, good to go, it is that reciprocal play, the matching energy levels, and the ability to kind of redirect and come back to you, right? Those are dogs who are in a really good mindset. When we go to dogs who might be in like a yellow, I call it a yellow mindset, or like a wait and see, hold on kind of second. These are the dogs who are in an alert state. So they are paying attention, right? I just lost my kid. Do I know where my kid is in the mall? Let's take a look around. Okay, we're good. Right? Do you see that? Up my shoulders immediately went down. Do I know where my kid? I don't see them. I gotta move and do something, right? That alert state right there is that middle ground where you want to give a dog a couple of seconds to see what's going on and make a decision on how they let them make a decision to gain more information, make a decision, and then see what happens. Another kind of wait state is that anxious, nervous state, not fear. It's where it's like, I'm sick of you. I think I'm full of this. Maybe, okay, I'm gonna come back to you, right? And these are all really based off of who the dog is with, right? Because you can have two dogs who can display the exact same body language. I love them so much. You have two dogs who can display the exact same body language, but it depends on who the other opposite dog is, right? Like, and how they react. So a dog is always taking in that information and they're doing the vibe check. Honestly, at all times, they have like this crazy vibe check thing that we don't understand. And so in those kind of wait and see moments, it's not like I'm going to wait and see, let my dog figure it out. It's like, I'm going to pay attention and see like, what do I need to do to help my dog if this situation gets tough, right? Shake off is a stress release. It's great. Sorry, everybody here needs that. And so those are kind of like your wait, give it a second. And then your dog in an alert stage will either move to their calm and happy, like, it's not a big deal, I don't need to worry about it. I'm gonna go goes over here. Or they're gonna move into more of a, I have to do something about this state. And that's when you're gonna notice that they may look to you for help. Say like, what's going on? And you say, no, let's go, no big deal, right? Or they might actually be like, I think there's a bear over there. In which case you're gonna be like, this is a really good choice, let's go. Versus otherwise, it's fine, just be confident with your dog, right? Get with it, girl. You are quite on top of the social topics right now, Maisie. The same with the anxious and nervous. It's a dog gaining more information. An anxious and nervous dog really is a dog who can do very well when around another confident dog or a confident human. But you don't ever want to let someone else's dog have to do that job for you. That's not fair, right? That's like asking your third grader to teach another third grader how to have manners for 12 times. And then finally they punch them in the face. Well, yeah, right? You can't be in line so many times. So those are, some things to think about, right? I'm going way off
Yeah.
script.
No, I know.
Okay,
Yeah, that
I'm
was
sorry.
common neutral.
Okay, we can go to the next, keep going. Okay, so happy signals, that's the play bow that we talked about. The rolling on the ground, free, shaking either in like the wiggling. So on the ground, it's really they're wiggling on the ground if you think about it. And then the relax, kind of looking at you like relax right there. I'm like, I'm just chill, I'm not too involved. Notice like her eyes are not super fixated, right? She's just paying attention. She's tired. So then like alert we talked about, and then the next one, anxious and nervous. Any questions on those two?
You could be really submissive to unmoving laws.
We'll get right to that. That's a good one. Yes. I want to talk about that because submissive and dominant are two words that are very misunderstood and types of body language that mean different things. So it's a great question. Of course.
When I someone who just like walks up to her with broad shoulders and doesn't have
Human or dog?
um,
Either. Okay.
she'll do this thing where she'll just like jump in one place and like just like arching jump and working. And if you don't know her, you'll think she wants to play.
Sure.
But she really doesn't when she's very uncomfortable.
Okay.
I think she's very uncomfortable, but I don't really understand why does she do this like it's like this arching jump in one place
Mhm.
while working.
What's the bark sound like?
It's like I mean I can't do it, but
It's a staccato, short.
it's on the high end. And not staccato. It's staccato, but it's not like the highest.
Does she like people in general?
She's usually scared of
She's usually scared of strangers. Okay. And is this her being, when she does that, do you interpret that as her being scared?
well, I don't know. I mean she did it one time. There was like a little girl. It's just like being really rambunctious. And I don't think she's afraid. But like I have never seen it
Yeah.
in my life.
So obviously without witnessing it, right? And seeing everything else that's going on and seeing how, what'd you say her name was? I'm sorry, Piper may react to like the different signals. My gut tells me she's excited. It's a little shepherd thing. I should that's the journal. And also nervous, which is the bark. So she's kind of oscillating a little bit between like, I'm excited, but I'm nervous. And so that's what I'm guessing without seeing it, right? I'm not telling you to go out and like just try this for fun. But typically the movement means I'm excited. Dogs typically freeze when they're not in a comfortable position, right? And then the barking is probably like a alert. I'm curious. I don't know what's happening. I would say it's a mixed emotion is what it sounds like, to be honest. So what I would recommend in that situation is maybe take her and turn around and walk away and see what she does. How does her body language look? Like just really calmly, let's go, look, keep moving. What does her body language do? Does she turn around and check on it to see what's going on? Where's the tail position? Right? Once you get her mind and her body moving, is she able to come out of it quickly? And it's not that big of a threat. Does that help?
Yes, this is a weird
It is. The dogs are weirdos, right? They're awesome, but they are, right? Like, and just like us, like we can have a lot of ambivalent feelings at the same time. And shepherds, I have come to find, are bizarre in their body language and their play styles sometimes, because it seems like it's really clear it's really clear when they are feeling alert or uncomfortable, right? But when they do some of those goofy things you don't expect, it's like, oh wait, but you look like you were gonna jump. What? So it's it's a whole picture. It really wasn't that helpful, was it? But so this is like the whole thing I want to talk about is you have these signals that you look for, right? And the whole point is to say, like, what do I see? If you see, or Piper rather, having some, like barking and kind of jumping behaviors. So what could that mean? Anybody familiar with the what, so what, now what model? And thought about, okay. So basically it's like, what's happening? What do I observe? So what could that mean? Now, what do I do about it? Right? So you are observing things and you're saying, so what? I'm not totally sure what it could mean a couple things. So now what's my safest course of action to figure out what it does mean? And that's that troubleshooting. right? What up, buddy? Sure. Does that help you a little bit? Yeah. Other questions? All right.
Actually, so how does the owner have?
So,
No, no one here. But we have certain dogs where they will come in and invariably there's an incident while they're in the park.
sure,
But it is my general opinion that it's not because of the dog, it's because of the owner. The owner is afraid, the owner is covering, when the dog starts wrestling, the owner like jumps in and pulls their dog away, so the owner's acting fearful, which makes the dog more reactive. At least that's my belief.
that's a great point. So, all of these on here, everything that we've talked about, are all also human emotions, right? Or human states of mind. So if you are watching a dog who is playful and excited, but you are anxious and nervous, and you have a strong relationship with your dog, good or bad, your dog is going to pick up on that. They read energy, it's the vibe check thing, like they're going to know. So if you are not coming into the park confident, then you will need to take a step back, right? Because if you have a dog, your dogs will learn what we teach them. So if you think about it, like humans are born with, I think it's like 2 or 3 like innate fears, right? One of them is heights, I think for some reason. But like if you think about like a kid who sees a spider, like a little, they have no idea that spider is weird and gross. We teach them that, right? So we also then teach our dogs how to respond in certain situations. So if you were to jump up right now and Jasper running over there, right? Oh my God, he's so big. That other dog is so little. He's sniffing his butt. What if that dog doesn't like it? Jasper, come here, come here, come here, come here. Jasper's gonna be like, oh, that's not safe over there. Oh, okay, that's not safe. I'm not only am I not gonna do that anymore, I'm gonna alert people when people do that. And I don't want to see that, and I'm gonna prevent it. And I don't like this, right? So that's where being educated is really important because you need to understand what's happening. And if you have a question, ask the other person's dog, right? Or the other person, ask the other dog's human and be like, hey, are you comfortable with this? What do you see? But if you are constantly telling your dog what they're doing is good or bad, they're going to learn that. They really are. So if you are not allowing your dog to engage in play healthily, then your dog is going to learn, I can't ever play, and this is a threat. I feel your insecurity coming out. Now, your dogs, if you have a good relationship, they're going to check in with you a lot. They're going to look up at you and be like, yo, okay, right? And you can either just say, good, or ignore them. And both of those to the dog are signs that like, oh, well, cool, I can keep doing this, right? The dog is looking at you to make sure I'm doing the right thing. And they are going to internalize what feedback we give to them. Well, is that kind of?
Yeah.
I'm happy to come and be what do you call it? Recess monitor. But so we can change our dog's states of minds and they can change ours as well. All right. So calming signals, you guys, so when a dog is in those two kind of like questioning states, right? The alert and the anxious and nervous, they're going to do, right there, perfect. They're going to do a couple of different things with their bodies to calm themselves and to show other dogs that they're not a threat. So like, you see a dog lift its paw, it's a dog who's kind of thinking and gathering more information and being like, okay, I'm pausing, I'm thinking, right? It's just like a stop in the middle of my tracks kind of thing. A yawn is like a, oh, all right, I'm good, I'm done with that. Like that stress is off. It's calming to me, and it's also telling the other dogs I'm not a threat. The same with some lip licking and nose licking. It's in a small dose, it's calming, right? And it's saying again, not a threat. If a dog is doing it obsessively, then that's a whole other ball game, right? And then if a dog is looking away or turning away, so kind of like how we had over here at Jasper, and he just kind of was like, I'm going away, and the other dog turned away. Okay, cool, we're disengaging. Very clear body language. So you see these signals after a dog has done those other behaviors we just talked about, the 2 yellow ones, then that's a good time to say, okay, now I want to reevaluate where my dog is. because they've given some additional cues for me to pay attention. All right. So then the next two we have are kind of like orange. Like these are dogs who are like, I probably shouldn't be here, or I need more help and guidance to get this. So a scared dog is one who's kind of cowering, right? Small and afraid and making themselves small and moving away. That is a dog who doesn't say, I don't have enough confidence to be doing this right now, and I need your help. Right? So if you have a dog who's coming through the gate here and they're really scared, or you have a pack of other dogs who are like kind of circling around and that dog looks really scared, then they need some sort of guidance in that situation. And it means that it's just too intense for them right now. So maybe you need to take a few laps around the park on a leash before they can come into the dog park and have more confidence in doing it. So they've had some time to acclimate. Maybe they need help getting away from a bigger group of dogs or a certain dog who won't leave them alone. Right? And you get that kind of like the rude dog or the bully. Just because your dog is friendly doesn't mean your dog isn't over friendly. There is such a thing, right? It's the same with you. The next one, sorry. So submissive defense. So this is another kind of scared tactic. So dogs have defense drives in two different ways. One is to make themselves really big and tell somebody to get away from me. That's your classic shepherd stereotype, right? They also have a defense drive that says, I'm going to get really small, so you leave me alone. This is different than submissive play, and this is one that can be really tricky because a dog might look like, oh, he's rolling on his back and he's just laying on his back, he's having fun, his tail is there, he's just waiting. That dog is also playing dead sometimes. Like I'm getting as small as I can and as neutral as I can to tell you, vulnerable, to tell you I'm not a threat. And so again, you have to pay attention to how long do they stay in that position? What are the other dogs doing around them? Are they trying to nose them out of it? If the dog walks away, does it recover, right? So submissive is a very difficult term to kind of break apart when someone says, oh, my dog is submissive, because it can mean so many things depending on the situation. You want to tell me a little bit more about what he does?
Just typically unmoved, it's always been an unmoved dog.
Sure.
So the dog comes over and is like biting their face, licking at them, you know, trying to just get in their way. Doesn't even like to go.
But you said he lays down? Hold on. So unneutered dogs are a whole other ballpark. So it's hard, right? Because they are physically different. pH, pheromones, everything about them is different, right? They smell different. And it's not uncommon. My male dog hackles go up whenever he's near an unneutered dog. You say he lays down?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry.
He can't. I always think of it as.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he goes down on the ground as close to the ground as possible, but under
Yeah.
their nose.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so he's saying I'm not a threat. That's what he's saying. So submissive is like also like a hierarchy in the pack, right? Because there's only one dog in the pack who is submissive to everybody, and there's only one dog in the pack who is submissive to nobody, right? Everybody has that dynamic within them, and that can change also depending on some of the circumstances. So for whatever reason, right? He probably is reading that this dog has, is it every, they always have something different. And fixed males they just have a different mind, right? So dogs see that. Many dogs react strongly to it. Unneutered males also tend to be more confident. Not necessarily good confidence, but just confidence. Something to think about, right? But just kind of like seeing him and what he does, he's either a little confused and trying to mitigate the situation, right? If he's like licking the other dog's mouth, that's kind of a submissive sign, a play sign. So he's just trying not to escalate. Honestly, like I wouldn't say he's doing anything that's concerning with that information that I have, right? Yes.
I would say like in these times, it's really like we see, I live in the city, we see dogs all the time. it's so rare that we see a neutered or spayed dog over 6. Right? And so I think our dogs aren't used to
Correct.
seeing like an adult.
There's actually
John.
a fair number of intact dogs that come down.
Really?
Probably
So-
because they're not, I mean,
We don't see that, so I don't see that where I am. So like my dog would probably be like,
And even the ones that are going to get neutered, most of the vets in the area are telling them to make the dogs over one.
They're suggesting.
so there are a lot of things going on in that discussion, right?
yeah, I know.
And you're playing social dynamics versus individual dog health in some situations. And by social, I mean like overpopulation, things like that, right? So we make decisions based on where we are and what we can, right? There's a reason that you can't bring dogs into the state, rescue dogs that are fixed, right?
I know like most people that have breeding programs, they normally have like, acres at their house. They're not bringing their dogs to dog parks. Not at all. They have, their own space. Yeah, so my dog ran into, today we run into tons of dogs and I've seen probably 2 neutered dogs. They both look like that.
And so we probably get 5 or 10 years every day of this. Not each all at once, scattered around, but for example, there's a husky recently got neutered, but still is unable to be in the same husky mother. Although the husky is now neutered,
Wow.
he just will go after other attacked dogs.
He's never the one who like to start it, but it's so, sometimes, I don't know, right? But sometimes it's so bad that it's done crazy that I leave. Because he will just follow the dog all around. And that's,
Yeah, it is.
that's when I can't leave.
Oh, that's good to know. Yeah.
You know, just,
Yeah, it's a whole other biological dynamic.
just not even sometimes that's just.
Yeah, right.
So slow. I just, there's-
Yeah,
I don't-
yeah, it's hard, it's just, they're almost just like different species to some dogs, right? Like they're just, and unneutered, unfixed animals, males and females, right? Especially if you look at female cats, you look crazy, right? Like they have very different biological and physiological drives to reproduce, to mate. And they will get another dog out of its way to do that. Right? And so some dogs pick up on that and they are unsure about it, or some are like, it's cool, I'm into this, right? Does Jasper greet a lot of people when they come in, or a lot of dogs when they come into the park?
Oh, yeah, yeah, love them.
Yeah. Does he greet, does he like walk around, social butterfly kind of thing?
Yeah, he play Bowser.
Yeah, he's keeping a lot more peace than you may realize. He is. So confident dogs, a lot of people think dominant dogs are confident, and it's not always the case. Again, dominant and like submissive is another one of those like words. But those are dogs, confident dogs keep the peace in the dynamic, right? So he could see a dog come in hot and go in and correct it, or he could see a dog be kind of shy and not very confident, and kind of like go and like razz it up a little bit, like. Um, so when you see a dog who is, so that's kind of the scared and the submissive defensive are dogs who are in a position that if somebody else doesn't help them, advocate for them, they are in a position to become fear reactive or fear aggressive. Because they're not confident, right? Now, Jasper is not a not confident dog, right? What he's doing is keeping the peace more than like giving it, right? But submissive dogs who are not being play submissive, who are being more like defense submissive, like this is how I'm protecting myself. And scared dogs are the ones that came out of nowhere, right? So we have to make sure that we are watching out and advocating for our dogs. When you have a dog in one of those states, one of those kind of yellow states, you can go to the next one, Will, thank you. you're gonna see them do stress release movements to break out of that. So that's gonna be that shake, right? And this is any dog who's trying to get rid of some extra energy, is that big shake off, which you all know. The dog redirects and starts using their nose to sniff on the ground. That's a dog who's trying to disengage as well. They're trying to use different part of their brain to pay attention to what's going on and gather information, right? It could be short, it could be short-lived, it could not be, but that's a different type of dog who is, or a different type of reaction to kind of soothe the situation. And then when you see dogs who scratch, so a lot of times when I'm training dogs, we were doing like leash skills, for example, right? Which when you start doing like new leash skills with a dog can be tricky. They will all of a sudden like sit down to start scratching their ear. And they're like, oh, he never scratches. And I'm like, he's not actually scratching because he itches. He's displacing energy, right? It's the same way with the shake. He's getting rid of some tension energy in his body. Or he's kind of protesting a little bit, right? So it's funny, they can mean different things based on everything else that's happening around us. So then the next two are ones that you need to be really aware of. And there's an air quality alert today. Oh my gosh, like all of them, like even in the crate, I was like, oh my gosh. Do you mind next one, please? So aggressive defense is the opposite of that submissive defense. This is not to be confused with a dominant dog, right? A dominant dog, or excuse me, not to be confused with a confident dog. Confident dogs can look relaxed. They can also look like they're posturing a little bit, right? So when you have a dog who is aggressive as their defense versus submissive, this is another dog who is uncomfortable in the situation, doesn't know what to do, isn't happy, and is either trying to communicate and in an like I'm gonna scare you kind of way. Think about your dog who barks at the mailman, but like and growls and barks at the mailman, right? That's a dog who is telling the mailman, go away. And every time the mailman turns around and leaves, the dog wins. So his dog has learned, oh, if I do this, this is how I get what I want, right? And so when you have something like that, then you get, and dogs bring that energy in here. If they have to escalate to that level, it usually is not a good sign. And that's something that you want to give the dog. If they've gone past alert and are into that growling and snarling and baring teeth, you want to try to break that up as quickly as possible. It could lead to a fight and it could not, right? But if you can get the energy back out. So Jasper doesn't want to play right now. One of these dogs he doesn't like. And it's not like a bad thing. He's just tired. He's been here for a while.
Yeah. It's there'll be 2 or 3 on 1.
Yeah, yeah.
1-on-1, Jasper loves.
He's
playing
okay, yeah.
almost any-
Mhm. And so that was him, right? So the way he went under, he gave one of the dogs a correction. He showed his teeth and he snarled a little bit. And then he went, if one of those dogs would have gone after, like followed them, Jasper probably would have had to give another correction, right? But the other dogs took it very well and they just backed off, right? And so that's when we go back to kind of like looking at what's happening and watching the dogs. Okay, so what do we see? So what could that mean? And now what, right? Jasper, if that happened and Jasper didn't get away the way he wanted to, that would be a situation where we as owners may have to come in and advocate for our dogs, right? Because dogs can give you the other dog signals enough to like, hey, leave me alone, respect my boundaries. But if the dogs don't know that, then they're not gonna listen. They're not gonna, they don't know how to interpret that. They're gonna have no idea. Does that make sense?
Yep, yep.
Did Jasper dig that hole?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm okay if he did. I'm just curious, honestly.
Now the dogs, yeah, we move the tables. Dogs will invariably dig a hole in the pit in order to stake the.
Yeah, I was curious. Yeah, yeah. And so, well, and dogs are fun. So we can't, this goes back to my point earlier, is like we can't rely on the other dogs to teach our dogs everything, right? We have to teach our dogs communication and advocate for them, which is why controlled play is really important also, right? To make sure they have the right social skills to get into and be able to deal with other dogs. So the aggressive defense we talked about, aggressive defense is harder to calm down from than submissive defense, because aggressive defense is usually a learned behavior. And like they've practiced it. They've had to practice it a lot and a lot and a lot typically. Whereas submissive defense doesn't get practiced as much unless the dog is in a pretty unsafe environment for it. Not necessarily like the dog's in danger, but like mentally it's just not the right environment. And then, so fear of aggressive defense is the third one. And this is that dog who has tried to make itself small and get away and protect itself. And then all of a sudden, this is the one that the bite comes out of nowhere because it doesn't look dominant or aggressive. It doesn't like, it's not posturing like it's going to do anything, but it's literally done everything it could to get away from whatever situation it was uncomfortable with. And now has no other choice but to defend itself going through its hierarchy. And I've seen it on the Facebook group, you know, there's the ladder of dog, reactivity where it starts with lip licking and whale eyes and things like that. Exactly like what Jasper did, right? Very low level, and then escalates to the bite. Any questions on those? I think I have a couple. Okay, so setting your dog up for success. We talked about recall, right? So that you can call your dog out of a situation if it looks uncomfortable or if it's making another dog uncomfortable or if there's just anything around it. So also the park is not a substitute for regular mental or physical exercise, right? It's a supplement. It's a reward and a privilege for our dogs. And we need to make sure that we are taking care of all of their needs regularly outside of the park as well. Practice calm entering and leaving. So the way you enter a place is your mindset in that place. And that could be like entering the outside of the van, right? Or entering this gate from the next. You have a dog who is rushing up to the door and can't be calm and can't be pulled back. That's a dog whose mind is too wound up to be safe at the park, right? Now, not saying that they won't calm down quickly, but that is a dog who is, bless you, that's a dog who is not in a mindset to listen to you or to have recall or anything like that. So that's a good opportunity to take your dog and do a couple laps, right? Walk around the dog park with a leash on the dog, inside or out.
So
You probably can't have
that's-
leashes inside,
that's,
can you?
yeah, no
Yeah.
leash is allowed inside the park.
Yeah,
because
so-
of power differential.
Yeah, so some places have like pads specifically designed for that, I've seen, but walk around the park or the parking lot, just practice up and down, right? And get your dog calm enough before it enters so that you know it's gonna listen to you and not be the person that dog Jasper has to come over and be like, hey, buddy, chill out. Leave sick dogs at home. Pick up after your dog. Focus on your dog. So dog parks are for dogs to socialize with their human or to socialize with other dogs. They are for humans to socialize with their dog and not other humans, right? I know, but you have to pay attention because all of this is observing with our eyes, right? If we don't have eyes on our dog, which is our primary sense, right? Dogs, what is the dog's primary sense? That's right. So if we don't have our primary sense on our dogs consistently, we don't know what they're doing. We cannot help them and make them better and protect them. And we aren't going to either learn from them, right? So if you hadn't seen Jasper, you can tell which dog it was. Yeah. So if you hadn't seen like Jasper with the other, like, you know, licking that dog's mouth, and if you hadn't seen Piper doing her funny bounce, right? You would never know that these are things you need to think about. And then all of a sudden, what are you going to say? But, oh, it came out of nowhere. There's no such thing. Unless you have a dog who is injured and it's unknown, it doesn't come out of nowhere. It really doesn't. What other questions? All right. That's what I had. I'm happy to hang out and talk a little bit.
So you all joined us a little bit late. Did you have any questions on dog body language or behavior in the park?
Cool. Awesome. All right. Well, I'm from the Dog Wizard, like I said, in Burlington. Jen here also is as well. Do you have any questions or want any tips or anything? Just let us know questions about dog behavior, and we'll also be here tomorrow.
Yes.
So, any question? Oh yeah, Jen, you want to talk about the Dog Wizard? Make her do it. She owns it. Here you get the mic. Working for the Zoom. It is? Okay. Oh.
So it's a,
Dog Wizard is a dog training franchise that's been around for 12 years, but we're the first one in Massachusetts. So there's like 66 in the US, but we're the first one in Mass, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, or whatever. So we kind of cover the whole area. It's balanced training. Even though it's franchised, it's locally owned and operated. So Tricia lives nearby. I've talked to a bunch of you guys. I live in Charlestown, but you know, I'm all around here. And so we're just trying to establish ourselves here. We, you know, we started in March, I think, training. So we're still pretty new, though Tricia's been training rescue dogs and, you know, the really toughies for a long time. I've had rescue dogs. I think my dogs are well behaved, but I would never pretend to be the trainer that Tricia is. I do the back office stuff. I'm a scientist. Actually, she's an engineer. I'm a scientist. So like,
We both like have a lot of problem solving approaches,
Yeah.
you can't tell.
but yeah, so I will leave a piece of paper up here where you can put your email address, and we'll just like that you are spam you a ton or anything. But I mean, you guys all have well behaved dogs. But should you have friends that your dogs need a little training or anything like that, we have all kinds of things from like helping with a puppy to, you know, aggression or adopting a new dog that needs a little bit of like help.
Yeah, we do like puppy 101s, and so we have our standard regular classes, like group classes, individual private lessons. I do day train. We also do like puppy 101. We do like bringing baby home, so teaching like your puppy how to like your dog how to prepare to bring a baby into your home as well. That's something we have. We do off leash training through e-collar, remote collar training as well. We don't do any sort of service work, right? That's not us, but we know great people who do. But any of your like dog behavioral mindset, obedience needs, your dog doesn't like going to the groomer, if your dog is weird around turns, if your dog doesn't know how to sit or keep a heel or anything, right? You want to teach your dog a bunch of weird tricks. Yeah, that's your people for it. And I'm a local, so I go everywhere.
Yeah, so it's like
That's the reason I made
you don't want to
I wanted a break. No, I'm kidding.
come and we'll, you know, come and because I think we both believe like, and I think meeting all of you guys, you can't just train the dog. The owners have to be involved in the scenario and understand what the dog's needs are, what the family needs are, and how you need your dog to fit in with the lifestyle that you're living in. And so
And that's a big reason we don't offer board and trains, is because so much of dog behavior is relationship based with the owner, and everything that happens outside is a direct result of what happens in the home. You have to fix the home first.
So everybody needs to be consistent with, you know, Tricia can only do so much.
I can do
But-
everything.
Yeah, she can do everything, but then like if it isn't the way that you want your dog to act in the house, it's not gonna help anybody. So we all need to work together to make our dogs and family happy. So anyway,
Thanks for letting me have potato you.
thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, very much.
And I'll leave a little clipboard up here, and I promise we won't be spamming you guys with time.
Any other questions?
Awesome. Cool. Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Helpful.
Thank you for letting me grow to you.
Yeah, no problem.